Hi there, this is Troels from T.E.C and in this video we're going to take a very deep look at our new Century solo brass. In some ways it's really hard for me to do this video because we're looking at over 48 gigabytes, and that's compressed. Even before that it was over 100 gigabytes of exquisitely sampled solo brass. In this video I'm going to be covering all 7 instruments in the collection, but I think I'm going to do this video a little bit different because there's so much stuff to cover, whether it's the articulation system here, all the controls we have here, the beautiful microphone positions here that truly allows you to dial in both dry and wet. I think sometimes in samples we tend to think of halls because beautiful music is recorded in those halls, but that doesn't necessarily mean that those halls are the greatest sample spaces. For example, when you have a big large hall and you stack 100 or 200 samples, you get a lot of stacking and bleed in that sound, and you lose a lot of the definition in the mix. So Century is forward thinking in terms of giving you much more flexibility on the microphone positions here, but I'll demonstrate that in great detail throughout the video. I'm thinking about shaking things up a little bit here and show you all 7 instruments played with a variety of articulations here without talking too much. And then after that, we're gonna geek out and get technical inside of this beautiful UI here. Let's start here with the solo French horn. In the first part of this demo, I'm going to be playing with a variety of the short articulations here, the staccatissimo and the arcs, and try to blend them in real time. And then I'll also play with the legato and pay close attention to how smooth it is when you go between the velocity layers. One of the beautiful things about Sentry is that you're not restricted by what I would call velocity layer bumps. These things are super fluent when you move between them and really allows you to express yourself. And the most awesome thing is that everything is running inside of one single patch. I'm simply just key switching through everything you're about to see. Next up is our beautiful solo trumpet. It has bite, but it also has a beautiful soft sound to it. You can actually crossfade in real time into vibrato and get that mariachi sound. So it really covers all the spectrums that you would want from an orchestral trumpet, from really delicate up to fortissimo and then stuff like mariachi as well. But in this example here, I'm gonna switch it up a little bit. I'm gonna be playing with a variety of the short notes and then in real time also switch to legato and then go back to other types of articulations in real time. Again, this is another example of me simply just playing everything here with one patch. And I'll show later in the video how you can compose your own patches exactly like this one. The trombone is one of my favorite instruments because it can have such a bite, but it also has such a warmth, especially with the legato, covering those slur techniques. One of the awesome things is that we have speed control, so you can also control how quickly you want the instruments to transition in their legato speed, or in this case with the trombone, the slur as well. But in this example here, let me try to demonstrate how you can use double, triple tongue, combine them with staccatissimo, and then I'll also go into legato. But one of the really cool things is that we did more types of short notes than I think has ever been done before. We have different types of staccatissimos, whether they're fanfare based, which is a little more imprecise type of articulation, or you want more clean tuned stuff. But for faster stuff, there's a lot of pitch variation. So we actually recorded that in the library as well. And of course, I'm also going to demonstrate the beautiful legato. Everything you're about to hear is actually available in our free tri-pack for Century Brass. I'm simply just going to be playing with the dynamically layered legato patch from the Flugelhorn here, and it's just amazing. It really, really is. I encourage anyone who sees this video just to grab it. It's totally free, and see what you think, because it's a great representation of what Sentry is really about the smoothness and the expression, the true emotion of the players. This is truly, really a push forward in terms of expressive deep sampling, if I can call it that. There are so many beautiful instruments in the world, and sometimes the ear has a tendency to go for the higher pitched ones, whether that be a trumpet or a first violin, whatever. But in the deeper realm of instruments, there's a lot of beauty, and it's often overlooked in samples. In Century Solo Brass, we decided to really embrace the concept of the lower range instruments, starting here with the Cimbasso. And the awesome thing about the Cimbasso is that in terms of its sound, it's a true hybrid between a bass trombone and a tuba. It has a little bit of the sharp bite from the bass trombone, but it also has some of the warmth from the tuba. Let me play an example here where I'm just demonstrating that. Mixing different short notes in real time, playing the legato in real time. Again, everything you're seeing in all these demonstrations here is just made with one singular patch and me just key switching in real time. And to follow up on that tangent of smoothness and warmth and complete playability with the legato, let me also give the tuba a little run here. It's super, super flexible, and as you can hear, it's pretty hard to tell from the real thing. It's just a beautiful instrument. And of course, we can take it a step deeper into the dark realm of music with a little bit of the bass trombone here. It also has that lyrical sound, but in this example here, let me go a little more into the realm of fortissimo and show you both the short notes and the legato, how they can work with that sort of bite that the bass trombone tend to be known for. And that bass trombone certainly has character. And that is really the concept of Sentry as a whole. Character, personality, infusion of emotion into the samples, something you can really feel. And that both relates to what we did at a recording stage, but also in terms of editing and programming and really figuring out how the instrument behaves well in the keys. And a huge part about the library relates to the way it's designed and the whole architecture behind it. One thing is the way we sample, whether it's casting players or casting multiple rooms to find the right setting that worked for us, that allows for that dryness and wetness at the same time and gives you full control. But an equally important aspect is the user interface design here, first introduced in Anthology. And there's a lot of stuff happening underneath the hood of Sentry. For example, the arcs here, they actually come at multiple lengths that you can control with the speed button here. And they're also designed in multiple velocities. So that means when you click a single patch like this, if the speed knob gets activated, there's actually multiple sample sets, both in regards to speed, but also in regards to velocities. And I'll demonstrate that in great lengths. Another super cool aspect, and that was so important to us in the way that Sentry works, is that you're only one double click away from getting access to the entire articulation set of whatever instrument you've loaded. No more loading different NKI patches or anything like that. You actually have access to everything from within the patch itself. And it's super easy to design your own advanced articulation matrix just with a couple of clicks. So right here you can see I've loaded an empty patch. It only has a staccatissimo and then it says empty slot on all these guys here. I'm going to double click on this one. I'm going to choose Mikado short and I'm going to double click on that, take soaring short. And I'm just going to build a quick little articulation matrix here. And as I'm doing this, and this is in real time, you can see all the articulations are being added to the key switches down here. So let me just fill this whole thing up here. And you can see this is actually how quickly it is. Just in the matter of a few seconds, you have designed your whole own personal articulation matrix. Everything is assigned to CC. You can also adjust it up here. But it's just to give you an idea about how nimble and quick it is to use the library. And everything is contained within this one singular page here. So let's take a look, for example, at the Legato patch here. You can see when I click this one, everything gets activated. You have vibrato control over the speed of the legato volume and all that. But if I choose another articulation, some of them get grayed out. Obviously, you don't need vibrato or legato control on something as short as a staccatissimo. But let me just play a little bit here with the solo trumpet legato here. I can't really stress it enough, and perhaps I'm too repetitive, but the importance of having legato without any bumpiness, where you just play it and it's fluent across velocities, obviously using dynamically layered legato. It's fluent across speed levels as well. You can adjust the speed in real time in terms of the legato transitions, and you can also dial in vibrato at whatever point you want. But let me just play something here without vibrato, and then afterwards I'm going to demonstrate how to use legato and vibrato together. Hear how fluent that was, simply just using mod wheel and expression CC1 and CC11. That's a real-time demonstration, super easy to use. There's no magic to it really, it just works right off the keys. But as I mentioned, one thing is legato and legato speed. Let me show you how to use legato and vibrato together. This is also one of the new features that shines across Sentry, because when you go into vibrato, you don't get any phasing really. And that's something that's been taking us a long time to figure out from legato into vibrato without getting too many phase artifacts that we're used to from sort of past generation libraries. And there's also another cool aspect to the vibrato, and that's that you get that mariachi feeling totally. When you dial the vibrato up, which I'll do, you really take it to South America. But let me play it without and then dial it in so you can hear the difference between the two. As you heard in some of the earlier examples, I was also playing around with staccatissimo, double tongue and triple tongue. Let me just try to demonstrate that a little more isolated here for the trumpet and just show you how nimble it is. Just switching between a couple of key switches, in this case staccatissimo and some of the double and triple tongues here, and you can really get those fast John Williams kind of licks. Also use the speed knob here. It actually works for the triple and double tongue here in terms of adjusting the speed of the da-da-da. And let me just play that again, but this time around I'm going to isolate the different microphone positions so you can hear the distinct difference between them. Mixed obviously being the one I'm using for the most part because it's easy on my system resources and just have a perfect blend between wet and dry. But if you want to get more serious about your mix, you can adjust both close, deca and wide. Let me play them separately one by one. And then of course also the magic of mixing your own microphone positions. Let me try a couple different variations here so you can hear the difference between the more close and dry sound and the more wet and sort of lush hold sound. And it's just awesome to have full capacity to control that. Let me play another example to demonstrate how effective the speed knob is. I'm going to play a simple thing just combining staccatissimo and a soaring arc. And in the beginning I'm not going to have the speed right, and then I'll dial the speed in so you can see the difference of using the speed knob. It's awesome because you have multiple sample sets lying within a single articulation here, whether it's velocity based or it's speed related. The second you touch this guy here, you start affecting speed. So let me demonstrate that. So you can hear that bleed over, two sounds playing at the same time. Obviously not humanly possible. Let me show you what happens when you start adjusting the speed dial here. Actually, let me just demonstrate the speed knob here using one single articulation. You're going to see me trigger the arc long vibrato here, and the only thing I'm adjusting here is the speed wheel, and you're going to see the length of that arc change dramatically. Isn't it cool? And it's fun to use as well because all I'm doing is to play on the keyboard. The velocity is already built into the arcs. All I'm adjusting is the speed control here. And as with all our libraries, you can always right click here if you want to assign this one to any of your CCs. I have this to my CC12 as you can see. And if you ever need help, if you ever wonder what is actually going on in the library, just click the question mark up here and you get access to all the main things we've built in. Obviously you got CC1, CC11 for dynamics and expression. You got speed per default designed to CC16, and then you got vibrato to CC12 if you really want to get into it. And while there are many, many other things I could talk about in regards to the complexities and advancement of sampling and how far we've gotten, I actually think this video has summarized what this library is about, because it's about a singular, easy experience. It shouldn't be complicated. You should essentially just be playing on the keys, having fun, not having to worry about legato bumpiness or crossfade issues of sustains or clumsy short notes that sound repetitive and machine gunny. It should all just work right off the keys. And that is the experience with Sentry. And trust me when I say that if you thought this was smooth, wait till you see our Sentry strings, which follows an equal paradigm that we've done with brass, both for Sodino strings, which we deep sample to a degree that have never been done, and also for regular ensemble strings. So check all that out. But thank you so much for watching. I'm just gonna wrap the video up here by playing a little bit more here with the arcs. They're just so lovely and fun to play. And I think a huge part of the experience for us as composers or producers, whatever you call yourself, is that you just want things to work. They just have to work right on the keys. So I'm gonna have a little bit of fun here, just wrapping the video up. But thank you so much for watching, and hope to see you on some of the other Sentry videos.